given that I'm wearing my 10-year inline anniversary. Al's a long-time member of the inline marathon board, and I didn't know Al was going to be speaking up. This is just my tenure. We're not talking I wore it because I wanted to remind myself that our public transportation infrastructure gets used in a lot of different ways. And you know, in the case of Duluth, not only does the freeway transport cars, but also transports runners in June and inline skaters in September. And as Margaret alluded to when you started off, I love transportation. I've served on it for 4 years now in the legislature, 2 in the House and 2 in the Senate. And I love it for a couple of reasons. Number one, Duluth has it all. We have a state trail, the Munger Trail. We have, I think, the port in the state of Minnesota. You know, there are some ports that don't even have water in the state of Minnesota. And a couple are on the river. We actually have a port. We have the freeway, of course. We have 4 bulk rail lines, as we mentioned. We have an international airport. We have Sky Harbor and Sea Base as a pilot, appreciative of both of those. Regional Trans service, as Dennis mentioned, 2 major bridges, and hopefully someday passenger rails. So, you know, when you talk transportation coming from this district, it's really easy to talk about it because we touch and feel it. The other thing I really like about transportation is it's not a very partisan issue. It's a great committee to be on if you're not looking to have the far left, far right fights, and you just want to actually try and get some things done and work together. And if you actually want to see concrete, no pun intended, results for what you do. You know, there aren't a lot of areas at the legislature where you can get, if you'd like to see those results, you can get job satisfaction. But on transportation, you can see when the road is built. You can see when the bridge is rebuilt. You can see when the new terminal is built. So, love transportation, enjoy serving on it. When I grow up in the legislature someday, we'd love to share transportation. That list is long.
Okay, well, I'm Brandon Anderson from Chisholm. I'm running for state senate in what is now District 6. It's primarily the southern half of St. Louis County and the eastern half of Itasca County now that's been added in with redistricting. But it's private investment and personal spending that makes the economy flourish and roll. It's earmarks of a healthy economy. But it's the state's responsibility to provide the infrastructure to make that all happen. Obviously, transportation is a major part of that. When I was out door knocking a few weeks back, a constituent suggested to me, this was near the Hibbing area, that one way to improve commerce in Hibbing is to open up the roads a little more. All we have in the Hibbing-Chisholm area is the 169 corridor. That's 4-lane and fast way and nice road to get in and out of that area. But other than that, there's basically nothing. There's 73 coming up from Moose Lake all the way to Hibbing, and it comes from a little north of Cook down from Chisholm, and not exactly the best road. The southern half south of Hibbing's been improved a lot in the last 15 years or so. But his suggestion was to even open up the roads and make a slight increase the speed limit, even to bring it from 55 to 60 miles per hour to encourage more people to travel into the area. Virginia, on the other hand, has 3 really good roads coming in and out of it, 169, and then 53 that goes through. And Grand Rapids is sort of in the same situation where they have 3 good major arteries coming in and out. So it improves the travel that's going through that area. Experienced myself even coming down here when I left work in Hibbing. I took Highway 16 just south of Hibbing and run that all the way over 53. And that section is so rough. It's one of those what was the name for it on that chart? Black tower. Ride quality index is very low. Where it had rained all day and there's puddles all over in the low spots of the road, and there's potholes to avoid and bumps, and I'm all over the place and watching my speed and you know, worried, actually, honestly, you know, slightly concerned about your safety traveling on this road. On the other hand, last weekend, and I gotta say, I mean, if it wasn't saving me about 3 minutes because I was running late to leave work early anyway, I probably would have gotten that mine from here in Duluth got buried and had a reception in Silver Bay. So we headed from 53 east in Mackinnon on 16, which turns into that Forest Highway 11, which is newer, nice, beautiful road. And I hadn't even been on that stretch from Mackinnon all the way over to Silver Bay before, so I didn't know what to expect. I was expecting rough, skinny, torn up asphalt like the rest of Highway 16 is, but it turned out to be nice. And I was thinking to myself, as going out there, I'm an avid Harley rider, and being campaigning this summer, I've missed a lot of miles on the bike. But I was thinking next summer it'd be a nice ride to take out there to Silver Bay. I mean, I don't really have any specific thing to do in Silver Bay, but just because the road is nice, it'd be great to get some friends together and take a nice summer ride out there to Silver Bay, just as I would do it.
My name is Jennifer Havlick. I'm running for Senate District 3, which is very large. It's Lake County, Cook County, north of Highway 1 in St. Louis County and now Cochise County. And during this election cycle, I've had an opportunity to drive on lots and lots of roads. Probably all the roads that everybody here would like to talk about, actually. And Brandon's right, 16 is a little rough. One of the things I think that I benefit from is that I grew up in New York. So in New York, we have all forms of transit, like Duluth. You name it, we got it. And we have it en masse. And when I say mass, remember the blackout after 9/11 when everybody was walking out of Manhattan. So I have a keen awareness of how important mass transit is, the DOT and the Arrowhead Transit. In my earlier life, I was in emergency services, so I believe I have a really good grasp on how important really good and safe roads are to the community. I mean, Al Goodman talked about sections of Highway 61 going up north where it's about this narrow. And I think to myself, if our emergency services have to stop there, A, no one's getting north of Two Harbors anytime soon. And B, it's going to be dangerous for them. God forbid somebody break down on that section of road, and they don't have a fire truck or an ambulance to maybe protect them from the situation. And we've had some unfortunate circumstances on Highway 61 in the last year, even on new sections. So I think that transportation is one of those needs. I always talk about trying to differentiate between needs and wants. Transportation is always a want and a need. We need it because we can't get anywhere or do anything, provide jobs or anything of that nature if we don't have good transportation structures. Roads, bridges, mass transit. People can't get to work if they don't have enough buses or trains. Here in Duluth, we don't have any subways that I'm aware of quite yet. And I know there's a lot of talk about light rail. I'm a little sketchy on the light rail thing because up in northern Minnesota, as much as we've got Arrowhead Transit up there, I mean, if we put light rail to Two Harbors, I don't know how we would get them around other than walking, So there's some challenges there if we decided that we needed to do that. But I think that our priorities, when we talk about just changing the oil on our roads and bridges, I think that has to be the priority. I think we need to start focusing on how we can do a little more than just changing the oil on our roads and bridges. Because I assure you, up in northern Minnesota, where it's hard to get anywhere from here, good roads and bridges are the utmost importance. Our emergency services can't get to you if they can't get on the roads and bridges. People can't get to work. Sailing the Bounty can't get their shears out. In the interest of my husband's employer, who is a competitor, Genesis, over in Superior, we've got bridges that they need too. So we need to partner with other states to make sure that we have roads and bridges that go over to our twin ports to make sure that they can get back here and the people that work over there can get here and earn a living and vice versa. So I think that transportation and infrastructure is way up there on that needs scale. And that's the best way I can tell it to you is without roads and bridges, we can't get anywhere. And if we can't get anywhere, we can't live. And if tourists can't get up to us, we can't make a living. So it's an imperative.
My name is Eric Simonson. I'm running for Minnesota House here in District 7B, which encompasses, by and large, the western half of Duluth. And my position on transportation is kind of ties back to something that the voters are telling me that they're interested in, which is jobs. By and large, number one issue at the doors this campaign season is jobs, or lack of jobs. And people want to know, what are you going to do to bring jobs to Duluth, to bring jobs to Minnesota? So my answer is simple. I can't create jobs for you. I don't believe that's the role of the legislature. What I do think the role of the legislature is creating and developing policy that promotes private industry in their efforts to develop jobs and encourage business to come to places like Duluth or around Duluth or any place in Minnesota for that matter. So when I talk about things that we can do as legislators, developing this policy that supports those initiatives is number one. Number two is our bonding bill. Those dollars are critical, as we heard here today during the last hour, how critical those dollars are in promoting and preserving public infrastructure. When I talk to folks in Duluth that are involved in economic development, because I want to know, what the impact is of the state legislature, and they say, here's what the state can do for us. We need the state to step up as a viable partner, and we need them to create and develop infrastructure that will encourage business to come here. Because they say that by and large, when a business wants to move into a new community or a new area, there are two things that they look at. One is the availability of infrastructure, excuse me, be it utilities, or be it the highway system, or luckily here in Duluth, we have many other transportation systems. And they look at the availability of public education systems. So these all things tie really nicely together, and I think that as a state government, we look at investing and spending public monies on things that provide a return on those investments back to the residents of Minnesota. And transportation is one of the best investments that we can make, because we do a number of things at the same time. Every time we invest $1 into transportation, we create abilities for our residents that live here to move around. We create abilities for new businesses to come here and develop jobs, which in turn keeps everybody happy, keeps everybody working. And the last point that I'll make is that I think that as a legislator representing the western portion of Duluth, I'm not just focused on Duluth itself, because by and large Duluth and the townships that surround it, we feed on each other. We're more of a regional concept than we are individuals, especially when it comes to transportation issues, because folks got to be able to move around. Products have to be able to move around. I'm excited about transportation, and it's something that interests me a lot. And I definitely think that we need to work on increasing our investments in transportation.
I'm Tom Hunley. I'm running for re-election to District 7A, which is about the eastern 40% of the city of Duluth. And I have a strong interest in transportation, even though I've never been on that committee. But I was on the Port Authority for 6 years, and as president of the Port Authority for 3 of those 6 years. And when I talk about transportation, just look out the window here. And I have to say that it's much better than the window looking out from my apartment in St. Paul, except that the apartment in St. Paul has even more transportation out the window than this one, because you don't have airplanes coming in and out. My apartment is on Kellogg Square. It's right at the edge of the river up top of the cliff there, and it looks towards the east. And I see all freeways going through Duluth, going towards the east coast. The highway going to Rochester goes right down the road for me, and then I can see the airplanes come into the St. Paul Airport. They fly right by my window, and then there's the trains that come up the river and go through Sweet Hollow up into parts of St. Paul, and there's the other railroad where it bends right around the corner towards Kellogg Square and heads towards Minneapolis. And lastly, what I can see there and don't see here is the barge traffic. So all those barges are parked in the Mississippi River right below my window. So I always wanted to get Congressman Oberstar in there to show him what transportation is all about. You know, if you want good roads, however, you're gonna have to pay for them. You have to figure out how to pay for them. And I think they're worth it. If you look at the history of this country, in transportation, who built the Erie Canal? It was the government. Who funded most of the railroads across this country? It was the government. Who built the St. Lawrence Seaway? It was the federal government and the Canadian government. And that great socialist Eisenhower built our highway interstate system against a lot of opposition. And the reason he did that is he saw what happened in World War II when he had to fight against the Germans. They had superb highways and could move their tanks very rapidly. And so Eisenhower came back, and that's, I think, the primary thing he did in this country. He did a lot of good things, but he developed the interstate highway system. Towards the end of what I'll say is that we need to invest in our infrastructure, in transportation right now. We did not invest enough when we went through the recession, and if you looked at the paper here earlier this week, there is a big group of economists, all of whom said that our recovery from the recession is going to be very slow unless the middle class wages catch up towards where the wealthy are going. Because it's the middle class that determines how the economy works. And one way we can help the middle class is make sure that every construction worker that works on highways is busy in summer. And that puts a lot of people to work. What do those people do? If they have jobs, they spend money. So I think that's very important for us to look at during the next session, is to stimulate as much possible construction and repair of our highways. The last thing to say is a little political, but there was talk about the 2008 amendment that the governor vetoed, and almost all the Democrats voted to override the veto. Only 6 Republicans voted to override. 3 of those got beaten while we watched. So if you're interested in infrastructure, you ought to think about who you're voting for.
Thank you. I'm Mary Murphy. I'm state representative, and I'm running for re-election. I've always thought of myself as a strong supporter of transportation in Minnesota. I feel that transportation is the system, and having good roads and bridges and trails, means of communication by whatever way to draw the state together, is good for all of Minnesota. I think that Greater Minnesota is absolutely Greater Minnesota is going to stay thriving, and there's going to be commerce going on throughout the whole state rather than just the metropolitan area. We have to have different means of communication throughout the state. We have to have strong roads and bridges, but we have to have other ways of getting to those places too. Public transportation. I've authored the Northern Lights Express railroad bill, and I've authored the Duluth Airport bill. Bonding is very, very important to successful transportation systems in Minnesota. And I've always supported the bonding bill, and almost always supported the transportation bills. I think transportation also know the radio was saying, stay home, some of us tried to get out. But if you had not, we had not had good engineering and long-range plans, where would we be to this day? We wouldn't be nearly as far as we are to this day. So I thank you all that worked with the restoration after the flood, and you all that worked with the townships, and the county and the state worked together to get people back to the swiftest possible way of getting from one place to another. But I know there's still driveways out there. The rivers still are creating some problems in some parts of my district. And I am just saying my prayers every night still that those shoulders of the roads that still have yellow tape or those little orange cones along the way, that I feel confident that that's going to be addressed before the first 6-foot snowstorm. One of the things that I thought of today that was going to be mentioned that I haven't heard a word about is indexing. We haven't heard about indexing of the gas tax. And that's one means that we could implement going forward. But there is no transportation bill that's passed without internal agony by each representative. We never quite know how it's going to hit us politically. And this is part of what Thomas said. More than almost any other vote, the transportation bills are political. And people want smooth roads, and they want all these things. But then some people don't. And it's always a conflict, a lot of things. And we always have to weigh who wants it. And on the last one that you praised so highly was the 2008 bill that did pass, where 2 Democrats and 4 Republicans didn't come back for it because they voted yes. That makes everybody stop and think again. But I wondered at that time if, and I think there were probably a couple people that were thinking of voting yes, because the 5 cents, we were already, even with the 5 cents, going to be behind. So if there was a method that we could get this out of the rise of the gas tax and index, we should at least be talking about that now. To see if that's the solution for, as the need arises, that there would be some kind of index and then the tax would rise without a vote or not a vote. Because that's what's held us back, is that we haven't had enough rises that go along with the cost of living and the changes in the needs. But I strongly commend that we continue with our long-range planning and adjusting the long-range plan as is going to have to be done for catastrophes like what happened this summer, and for the needs that are going to happen this summer. But I think we're probably going to go out of here and we're all going to be strong advocates of transportation and good roads and good boats and good shipping and good flying and good trails and everything. But let's get off the dime and get some more money in the transportation system. We really have to do that.
Well, I'm Keith McDonald, and I'm also running in Host District 3B. It's very, we got to know each other. When I was mayor of Hermantown from 2004 to 2008, and we actually worked on some things together. And when I was the mayor, I also I sat on the Metropolitan Interstate Committee, which oversees transportation which I found out those have leveled off over the last 6 to 8 years due to us producing more efficient cars. So people are using less gas, so that's pretty much leveled off in our state. I saw that 38% of our funding comes from registration fees on vehicles, or as we know, they're called cab renewals also. And that has also leveled off since about 2000 when the legislature reworked the formula for vehicle tabs, which it reduced the amount, well, it leveled off the amount that we're receiving for registration fees, because the value of the vehicle is no longer varying after the first year. After that, it's just like a set amount. The other 12% of funding comes from motor vehicle sales taxes. And that's been pretty much level since that was dedicated to transportation funds in around, I think, 2003, it looks, or 2000, early 2000s anyway. So, you know, what we've seen basically over the last 6 to 8 years is a leveling off of transportation funds in our state. And so what we have to ask ourselves is, you know, what's the answer, or what's the solution to this problem? Well, if you look at 3 sources of revenue, I do believe that as far as motor vehicle fuel taxes, I think we should hold the line on that. I do believe that we will see those begin to increase just as our population continues to grow in Minnesota, and eventually our economy is going to bounce back. I mean, we know that economies are cyclical. We're already starting to see housing starting to bounce back, and I think that we're starting to see some of the daylight. So as the economy comes back, I think that our fuel sales tax revenues will also begin to increase. If you look at motor vehicle sales taxes, I don't think that we should increase those. I mean, that's going to damage our economy. I mean, we're going to make people pay more tax to buy a new vehicle. Fewer people are going to buy new cars. So I think that we should hold the line on motor vehicle sales taxes. But when it comes to registration fees and tab renewals on vehicles, I do think that we could reformulate that. I don't know that we necessarily want to go back to the formula that we had back in prior to 2000, but I do think that there could be some room for some readjusting of that formula, and the state legislature should rework that, and so that they're getting more revenue from that source. So that would be, you know, one of the things that I would look at doing if I was elected, trying to, you know, if I was on the transportation committee or whatever, look at, you know, adjusting registration fees. I guess other than that, you know, just reiterate that I realize how important it is that we have safe transportation in our state, and that it be speedy and efficient. We can't have people sitting in gridlock for hours down in the metro area. That's not going to further commerce along. So, transportation right now, I think, is taking up about 8.7% of our budget. It's the third largest item in the budget, and I would support, you know, increasing that to a little bit higher levels to help, you know, help meet the needs that we're experiencing here in Minnesota for the next 10 to 20 years. So, thank you.
I'll come out here so you can see me. And then afterwards, we'll take that gun loose, I'll run around the table. My name is Travis Silvers, I'm running for 7B, and so I'm here today, and I didn't catch the whole thing because you guys got here early and started without me. It's kind of nice going last because then you get a chance to figure out where everybody else is coming from. And as far as I can tell, you don't have a time limit on how long you can talk, so I think you made a mistake there. But anyways, I just thought I'd tell you this joke that I heard one time. Maybe you've heard it. Stop me if you've heard it. There was 2 city employees, and they're going down the road, and they get out of the truck, and one gets the shovel and digs the dirt and digs a hole, and the other one comes over and breaks the dirt back in a hole, and they move down half a block, and they dig another hole, and he fills it back in. They do that for a little while, and somebody goes up to him and says, "Hey, what are you guys been doing? I don't understand it. One of you guys digs a hole, one of you puts the dirt back in." Oh, I say, "Oh, the guy on who plants the trees, he's on vacation." So. Well, anyways, sometimes I think public works, they get that bad thing. You see the guy standing around with trouble. I know sometimes you need these people here to do the work there, but I think it is important. I think transportation is one of those things. It's just like the voter ID amendment. It's just common sense. You need transportation. That's how our economy works. That's something I would agree with Eric Simonson on my opponent, or I think that a lot of things he said, I agree with him 100%. It's It's just absolutely necessary. I think though that there are some things we do need to look at if we're gonna do things differently to be more efficient in the future. There was a renowned economist who went to a great public works project one time. They were digging out a canal, and they said, "Oh, we're so proud of this. Look at this. What do you think of this?" And he looked around, and all these people had shovels, and there was no heavy equipment. And he said, "Where's the big shovels? Where's the power equipment?" He says, "Well, this is a jobs project." And he said, "Well, if it's a jobs project, why did you give them shovels? You might as well give them spoons." So, you know, the idea sometimes is that we need to create jobs, but the reality is jobs will come about if we increase our productivity. Productivity is the key, and I think that's something we need to look forward to, and that's something that transportation is important in doing. We increase our ability to get our traffic in and out to the mines and other things, and we brought up the fact that we need to improve, I think it was Highway 1 because of the copper nickel deposits. I think that's a great idea. I think that's something we need to look forward to. If we're talking about helping the middle class, I don't believe you do that by increasing the gas tax, which I think is a regressive tax that hurts the poor and the middle class more. As far as, you know, we only have so much money to go around. We're already seeing gases at, $4 a gallon? I don't know about you, but that starts to pinch the wallet after a while. So we need to look at energy policies and things like that. Punishing people for emitting carbon dioxide, I think that's a mistake. And I think energy policy plays into the price of gasoline. Obviously, in this state, that has to do with the price of electricity, which we also see going up. But as far as other things, Huntley mentioned the things that you can see out his window in his apartment in St. Paul. Well, out my back window, all I can see is wild animals sometimes. And one morning, I actually saw a bear going by. But he said that he wanted to have Overstart on there. Well, I would say you could invite her back down there. I think he'd be more willing to come down and visit with you. He's a nice guy, too. But as far as the Northern Lights Express, I think that again is another mistake. I think when you take government money and you spend it on something, saying there's a demand here, there's a need here, what you end up doing is creating a product that the government ends up subsidizing. You see that with like the North Shore Theater, you also see that with the aquarium. Every time government gets into business, it's actually the role of the private sector. I think that we end up smarting for it, and that's something we don't want to get into. But there is a legitimate role for government. Transportation is one of those things. Our highways, our roads, these are critical infrastructure. Having the port here, obviously, that's a very important thing. So thank you.